Ever stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m., feeling the weight of the world, wondering if morning would ever truly come? We've all been there, lost in the night's long shadow. But what if I told you there's an ancient promise, a psalm that can guide you from that deep sorrow to the joyful light of dawn, reclaiming your peace and rest? It's late and the house is finally quiet, but your mind refuses to follow. The lights are off, the world has gone still, yet inside you everything feels wide awake. You stare into the darkness, maybe at the ceiling, maybe at nothing at all, and time seems to stretch in strange ways. Minutes feel like hours. Thoughts move in slow circles, returning again and again to the same worries, the same memories, the same ache that won't let you rest. Night has a way of amplifying everything. During the day, you can stay busy, distracted, surrounded by noise and people and tasks. But when night comes, all of that falls away. What remains is you and whatever you've been carrying in your heart. For so many people, night is not peaceful. It is heavy. It is filled with questions that don't have easy answers. It is filled with fears that you can push aside during the daylight, but that come rushing back as soon as the room goes dark. Maybe you are grieving someone you have lost. Maybe you are carrying regret over something that went wrong. Maybe you are anxious about the future, uncertain about what tomorrow will bring. Or maybe you just feel a deep, nameless sadness that you can't quite explain. Whatever it is, it sits with you in the silence, whispering, reminding you, keeping you awake, Doc. There is something especially cruel about being tired and unable to sleep. Your body wants rest. Your eyes are heavy. You feel worn down. But your mind keeps going. You might close your eyes and try to drift off, only to be pulled back by another thought, another memory, another wave of emotion. The bed that is supposed to be a place of comfort starts to feel like a place of struggle. You toss and turn. You check the clock. It's 2 a.m, then 3, then 4. With each passing hour, the sense of exhaustion grows, and so does the fear that you won't be able to make it through the next day. In those hours before dawn, it can feel like you are completely alone. The world is asleep. The people you might talk to are unavailable. The phone is quiet. The streets are empty. It can seem as if everyone else has found rest, while you are stuck in this long, restless night. That sense of isolation can be just as painful as whatever is keeping you awake. You might wonder why this is happening to you. You might wonder if anyone else feels this way. You might even wonder where God is in all this. Sometimes, the pain of the night is not just physical or mental, but deeply emotional and spiritual. You might feel abandoned, as if something precious has been taken from you and never replaced. You might feel like your prayers are not being heard, like your cries are falling into the dark and disappearing. There can be a quiet desperation in those moments, a feeling that you are reaching out for something, peace, comfort, reassurance, but nothing seems to come back. Fear often grows in the dark. Small worries become large. Uncertain possibilities become terrifying. You might start to imagine everything that could go wrong. You might replay painful moments from the past, wishing you could change them, even though you know you can't. You might think about the people you miss, the mistakes you've made, the things you wish were different. At night, there is nothing to interrupt these thoughts. They flow freely, and sometimes they overwhelm you. There is also a physical toll to this kind of sleeplessness. Your body feels tense. Your shoulders are tight. Your jaw might be clenched without you even realizing it. Your breathing becomes shallow. You feel restless, uncomfortable, unable to fully relax. Even if you lie still, inside you there is movement, agitation, a sense that something is not settled. This tension makes it even harder to fall asleep, creating a cycle that feels impossible to break. For those who are grieving, the night can be especially hard. During the day, you might manage to function. You might go to work, talk to people, keep going. But at night, the loss becomes more vivid. The quiet reminds you of what is missing. You might think about the person who is no longer there, the conversations you can't have anymore, the moments that will never come. The ache in your chest can feel unbearable, and sleep seems like something that belongs to someone else, not to you. For those who are anxious, the night can feel like standing on the edge of something unknown. You might worry about your health, your family, your finances, your future. You might feel like everything is fragile, like one wrong move could make it all fall apart. Without distractions, these worries take center stage, and your mind races through every possible scenario, searching for safety but finding none. In all this, there can be a deep sense of abandonment. You might ask yourself why this is happening. You might wonder why God would allow you to suffer like this. You might feel forgotten, unseen, unheard. When prayers don't seem to bring immediate relief, it's easy to feel discouraged. It's easy to feel like you are facing this night on your own. Yet even in this long, dark night, there is something deeply human about what you are experiencing. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are not broken because you can't sleep. You are responding to pain, to fear, to loss, to uncertainty. These are heavy things to carry, especially when you are tired. The night simply makes them more visible. There's a strange honesty that comes in the darkness. Without the noise of the day, you are left with what is truly in your heart. That can be frightening, but it can also be a beginning. It can be the place where you finally acknowledge what hurts, what you need, what you are longing for. Even though it feels overwhelming, this sleepless echo, the thoughts, the emotions, the fears can be the first step toward healing. If you are willing to listen to it right now, you might feel like this night will never end. You might feel like you will always be stuck in this state of exhaustion and sorrow. But even if it doesn't feel like it, time is still moving. The sky is slowly, quietly shifting. Somewhere beyond your window, even if you can't see it yet, morning is on its way. And with it comes the possibility of something different, something lighter, something new. You don't have to force yourself to feel hopeful right now. You don't have to pretend everything is okay. It's enough to simply be here, breathing, acknowledging what you are going through. The night may be long and its shadow may feel deep, but it does not have the final word. Even in this moment of sleeplessness, something is unfolding. Something that can lead you from this place of weariness toward a place of rest. And as you sit in this quiet, in this waiting, it's okay to let your heart speak. It's okay to admit that you are tired, that you are afraid, that you are hurting. These honest moments in the dark are not wasted. They are part of a larger story, one that does not end with night, but moves slowly and surely toward the light. Before we look at the ancient words that changed everything for David, if this message is helping you feel less alone tonight, please let us know in the comments or like this video. It helps us reach more people who are also searching for peace in the dark. In moments like these, when the night feels endless and your heart feels heavy, you are not the first to cry out in the dark. Long before any of us lay awake with our worries and grief, there were others who knew this same ache. One of them was David, the writer of Psalm 30. His words come from a place of deep struggle, a place where pain was real and hope felt distant. That is what makes this psalm so powerful. It does not begin with easy answers. It begins with a cry. Psalm 30 opens with a voice that knows suffering. David speaks as someone who has been brought low, someone who has felt the weight of despair and the fear of being lost. There is honesty here, not polished or filtered, but raw and real. He talks about being overwhelmed, about crying out to God for help, about feeling as though he was close to the grave. This is not the voice of someone who has never known pain. This is the voice of someone who has walked through it. When you are awake at night, turning over the same thoughts again and again, you may feel like no one understands what you are going through. But Psalm 30 reminds us that these feelings have been part of the human experience for a very long time. David knew what it was to feel threatened, to feel afraid, to feel as though everything he loved could be taken away. He knew what it was to feel the nearness of death, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. His words give shape to the things we often struggle to say. There is something deeply comforting about that. To know that your fear, your grief, your exhaustion are not signs that you have failed, but signs that you are human. David does not hide his distress. He brings it before God. He says, in essence, this is how bad it feels. This is how much it hurts. In doing so, he gives us permission to do the same so often. We think we have to be strong, especially in our faith. We think we have to present ourselves to God as calm, composed, and confident. But Psalm 30 shows us something different. It shows us that faith can include tears. It can include desperation. It can include the feeling of being at the very end of yourself. God is not offended by your honesty. He invites it. David speaks of crying out, of pleading for mercy, of asking God not to turn away. These are the words of someone who feels vulnerable, someone who knows they cannot save themselves. In the quiet of the night, when you realize how little control you truly have, these words may feel very close to your own heart. You might find yourself wanting to cry out too, even if you don't have the right words. Psalm 30 gives you some. What makes this psalm especially meaningful is that it does not deny the depth of suffering. David does not pretend that everything is fine. He acknowledges the reality of pain. He speaks of being in a place where joy felt far away. He knows what it is to be in that dark valley, where fear and sorrow seem to surround you on every side. And yet, even in the midst of this, there is something else beginning to stir. There is a subtle shift, almost like the first hint of light before sunrise. David's cry is not just an expression of despair. It is also an act of reaching. By calling out to God, he is opening himself to the possibility that things might change. He is not yet standing in joy, but he is no longer completely closed off from hope. This is important for us to remember. When you are in pain, you do not have to leap straight into happiness. You do not have to force yourself to feel better. But you can take a small step, a step that looks like turning your heart toward God and saying, "This is where I am." That alone is powerful. Psalm 30 also reminds us that God is not distant from our suffering. David speaks as someone who believes that God hears him, even when he is crying out from the depths. This belief does not erase the pain, but it gives it a place to go. Instead of carrying everything alone, David brings his burden to God. For those long nights when you feel forgotten, this can be a lifeline. You might not feel God's presence in a dramatic way. You might not suddenly feel peaceful. But the simple act of turning your heart toward him, of whispering a prayer, of letting him know how you feel, connects you to something larger than your pain. David's words also show us that it is okay to acknowledge how desperate things feel. He talks about the possibility of being lost, of descending into darkness. These are not lighthearted thoughts, but they are honest ones. And in their honesty, they create space for God to work. There is a kind of courage in telling the truth about your suffering. When you stop pretending that everything is okay, you allow healing to begin. Psalm 30 does not shy away from the darkness. It looks straight at and speaks into it. As you sit in the quiet of the night, feeling the weight of whatever you are carrying, you are not outside the story of this psalm. You are right in the middle of it. Your fear, your sadness, your exhaustion, they all have a place here. David's cry becomes your cry. His words give voice to your own. And even though this part of the psalm is filled with pain, it is not the end. There is a turning point coming. But before that, there is this moment of deep, honest expression, this recognition of how hard things are. That matters. It matters because it tells you that you don't have to hide. You don't have to pretend. You can bring your whole hurting self before God. In this way, Psalm 30 becomes more than just ancient poetry. It becomes a companion in the night. It sits with you in the darkness and says, you are not alone in this. Others have been here too. And even here, there is a path forward. There is a moment in Psalm 30 that feels like the first breath after being underwater. After all the honesty, all the crying out, all the acknowledgement of pain, something shifts. David speaks of a truth that cuts through the darkness like the first light of dawn. He reminds us that weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. These words are simple, yet they carry a deep and steady power. They do not deny the reality of the night. They do not pretend that the tears were not real, but they declare that the night is not permanent. For someone who has been awake for hours, staring into the dark, this promise can feel both distant and desperately needed. You might think, it doesn't feel like joy is anywhere near. And that is okay. The promise is not that joy is already here, but that it is coming. Morning has a way of arriving, even when it seems impossibly far away. Slowly, quietly, it makes its way into the sky. And before you know it, the darkness begins to fade. David's words invite us to hold on to this truth, especially when we are tired and discouraged. The night may feel long, but it is not endless. There is a turning point built into the rhythm of life, a movement from darkness to light, from sorrow to something new. Even if you can't see it yet, that shift is already in motion. This is where faith becomes something more than just a concept. It becomes a way of seeing beyond what is immediately in front of you. When you are in pain, your whole being is focused on what hurts. That is natural. But Psalm 30 gently invites you to lift your eyes, just a little, toward what is coming. Not to ignore the pain, but to remember that it is not the final chapter. The imagery of morning is especially powerful. Morning is not just a time of day. It is a symbol of renewal. After the long stillness of night, the world begins to stir again. Birds start to sing. Light returns to the sky. Colors become visible. There is movement, energy, and the sense that something is beginning. In the same way, joy in Psalm 30 is not just a fleeting emotion. It is a restoration, a return to life. This does not mean that everything suddenly becomes perfect. It does not mean that all problems disappear. But it does mean that the heaviness of the night does not define you forever. There is room for change. There is space for healing. There is the possibility of feeling something other than pain. One of the most beautiful things about this promise is that it is not based on how strong you are. It is not dependent on your ability to hold on. It is grounded in God's faithfulness. David's confidence in the coming morning comes from his trust in God's character. He believes that God does not leave his people in sorrow forever. He believes that even when things are dark, God is still at work. When you are lying awake, feeling overwhelmed, it can be hard to believe that anything good is on the way. Your mind might tell you that this is how it will always be. But Psalm 30 gently pushes back against that lie. It says that what you are experiencing now is real, but it is not permanent. There is something beyond this moment. This is where mindful redirection can begin. Not in a forced, artificial way, but in a quiet, gentle turning of your attention. When your thoughts start to spiral, you can return to this simple truth. Morning is coming. You can breathe it in slowly. You can let it settle into your heart. You don't have to solve everything right now. You don't have to fix your life in the middle of the night. You can simply hold on to the promise that this is not the end, the transition from night to morning in. Psalm 30 is not just about time passing. It is about a shift in perspective. It is about moving from a place of feeling abandoned to a place of being held, from a place of despair to a place of hope. That shift can begin even before the sun rises, as you allow your heart to open to the possibility of something new. Imagine the first thin line of light on the horizon. It does not erase the darkness all at once, but it changes it. The shadows start to soften. The sky begins to glow. In the same way, the promise of joy does not have to overwhelm your sorrow. It simply has to exist alongside it, slowly making room for something different. As you sit in the quiet, you can let this promise be like a gentle companion. You don't have to feel joyful yet. You don't have to pretend everything is okay. But you can allow yourself to believe, just a little, that this night will not last forever. That there is a dawn waiting for you, even if you cannot see it yet. This turning point in Psalm 30 is not loud or dramatic. It is steady and sure. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that God's love is not limited to the bright, happy moments. It reaches into the darkest hours and brings with it the promise of light. And so, in the middle of your sleeplessness, you can hold on to this. You can let it be a small anchor for your heart. Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. Those words have carried people through centuries of pain and waiting. They can carry you too, as you move slowly and gently toward whatever light is coming next. As the promise of morning begins to settle in your heart, it opens the door to something very real and very practical, the possibility of rest. Not just sleep, but the deeper kind of rest that comes from feeling safe, held, and at peace. Psalm 30 does not only offer us words to think about, it offers us a way to live, a rhythm that moves from sorrow into renewal. We can begin to align our own nights and mornings with that same gentle movement. Reclaiming rest does not mean forcing yourself to fall asleep. It means creating a space where rest is allowed to happen. One of the simplest ways to do this is to begin with how you prepare for the night. Instead of carrying the whole day into your bed, you can slowly let it go. You might take a few moments to sit quietly, breathing deeply, allowing your body to notice that it is safe. You can speak a short prayer or a few lines from Psalm 30, reminding yourself that God is with you, even here in the dark. Gratitude can be a powerful part of this ritual. Even when you are hurting, there are often small things you can be thankful for. A warm blanket, a quiet room, the fact that you are still breathing. These may seem simple, but they gently shift your focus from what is missing to what is present. They help calm the nervous system, easing your body into a state where sleep is more possible. You might also choose an affirmation inspired by Psalm 30. Something like, "This night will not last forever," or "Joy is coming in the morning." You can repeat it softly, letting it become a kind of lullaby for your heart. These words are not meant to deny your pain, but to hold it in a larger story, one that includes healing and hope. When thoughts begin to race, you can gently bring your attention back to your breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale even more slowly. With each breath out, imagine releasing a little bit of the tension you are carrying. You do not have to empty your mind completely. You only have to make a little room for calm. Morning, when it comes, can also be a sacred time. Even if you did not sleep well, the arrival of a new day carries its own quiet promise. You can begin by acknowledging it, opening a window, letting in some light, taking a moment to stretch your body and feel that you are still here. You can return to Psalm 30 and read or listen to the words that speak of joy and restoration. Let them frame your day. Small, consistent actions like these can slowly reshape your experience of night and morning. They create a rhythm that echoes the movement of the psalm, from weeping to joy, from darkness to light. Over time, this rhythm can become a source of comfort, a way of reminding yourself that even when things are hard, there's a steady presence guiding you through. Rest is not something you have to earn. It is something you are allowed to receive. As you bring Psalm 30 into your daily life in these quiet, simple ways, you give yourself permission to step out of the struggle and into a place of peace, even if only for a few moments at a time. And those moments can grow, slowly, into something deeper and more lasting. As morning arrives, whether softly or suddenly, it brings with it a new kind of light. Even if the night was long and restless, the new day offers a chance to begin again. Psalm 30 does not just speak about surviving the night. It speaks about what comes after it. It invites us to step into a life that is shaped not only by what we have endured, but by what we are becoming through it. Sustaining joy does not mean pretending that pain never existed. It means allowing the lessons of the night to deepen your appreciation for the light. When you have known sorrow, joy feels different. It is quieter, more precious, more real. You begin to notice small blessings that might have once gone unnoticed. A moment of calm, a kind word, a gentle thought. These become signs of God's ongoing care, reminders that He is still at work in your life. As you move through your day, you can carry Psalm 30 with you. You can remember that even when challenges arise, they do not have to define you. The same God who brings morning after night is present in every moment, offering guidance, comfort, and strength. When worries begin to creep back in, you can return to the truth that has already carried you this far. Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. Over time, this way of living begins to change how you face stress and uncertainty. You no longer see them as signs that everything is falling apart, but as part of a larger journey, one that includes restoration and hope. You begin to trust that even when you cannot see the whole picture, there is a loving hand holding it together. This does not mean that every day will be easy. There will still be moments of sadness, moments of fear, moments when sleep feels far away again. But now you have something to return to. You have a promise that has been tested by time and found to be true. You have a psalm that speaks into your darkest hours and points you toward the light. As you continue to reflect on these words, let them become part of your own story. Let them shape how you speak to yourself in the quiet moments. Let them guide how you respond when the night feels heavy. With each new day, you can choose to step a little further into the joy that God has promised, trusting that even the smallest glimmer of light is a sign of His presence. And if this message has spoken to your heart, if it has brought you even a small measure of peace, I invite you to take a moment now. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you can continue this journey of faith and hope with us. Your support helps this message reach others who may be sitting in their own long night, waiting for the dawn.